do you feel a sense of relief when you have given yourself the okay not to do something, right? If you feel that like, oh, I feel better when I've gotten away, not done something, not done the task. If you feel relief when you have given yourself another task to do, that is your red flag.
Prioritization versus procrastination. When are you putting things in the right order to do them versus when are you putting things in a place where you don't have to do them at all? So let's talk about this, Georgia, because a lot of things that come up for a lot of people are like prioritization. Are you doing the right things in the right order at the right time? But it can often feel like a tool for procrastination. What is the difference between prioritization and procrastination?
So prioritization is knowing the order in which you should do them. Procrastination, though, is that want to avoid doing things and the reasons why for that, which I think, again, as a therapist, it's more important to understand the reasons why you avoid doing the things that you have priority to do than it is actually the action of not doing it. Though in some cases, especially when you are working for a company that you have very serious deadlines, sometimes you need to get to it, but figuring out why will help you not avoid the things that you need to do to stay on task.
Yeah, like, you need to clean your desk. You never get around to cleaning your desk, except for that time when you really have this tight deadline on something and all of a sudden, all you want to do is clean your desk.
And why exactly does that happen? So there's reasons why we don't do things, reasons why at work, we often, or even in our regular life, we often will procrastinate in certain activities. Sometimes it might be that you're a procrastinating perfectionist. You want things to be so perfect, so good. And because of that, you put that bar so high that it causes you a whole bunch of anxiety. And we avoid negative feelings.
If you can't do it perfect, it's better for you not to do it at all, because then you don't not do it perfectly.
Often that's not the mindset, though. You're often saying, well, I need to get these things first. I need to make sure of this. I should research more. You put a whole bunch of barriers to just getting the job done in front of you because you want so much to have it be really good looked at, have your boss be able to say how amazing you did. And so because of that, you are avoiding the subject by trying to overdo things. And those are those procrastinating perfectionists. And that often will happen in areas that you don't feel comfortable. It's something that's new to you. You don't really understand the task. You haven't done it successfully before.
I feel
and that can cause a lot of anxiety.
I feel that so much because I feel like in the creator community, everyone wants to make better videos, but that's so hard. You instead if I only had this camera, if I only had this microphone, and then you spend your time, which feels like busy, productive time, but you're not actually doing the thing you need to do. You're doing the stuff that avoids you having to do it.
Yes. And often that's what we do is we will do something else. So suddenly when you have to do, say, you want to get a video done, you're like, you know what? I'm first going to make sure that the setup looks really beautiful behind me. So I'm going to clean the room that I'm going to deal with this with. And I'm going to make that later. Perfect. So because it's an ego hit for us not to do something, we do something that seems like we're working towards the goal, but we're still avoiding it because that then makes us feel a little bit good. And other people and ourselves, we're really good at lying to ourselves. And so it seems like, yes, that would be necessary. Oh, we are actually working towards the goal. And what you would want to do in that case would be to ask yourself the question of, why am I not doing this? Do I feel an aversion, like this want to move away, to change the habit, to not do it towards this activity?
I have a question. There's two things at least to me, that the human brain is famous for. One is pattern recognition, and two is rationalization. Yet somehow we never recognize the patterns of rationalization.
And that's the thing, is that we're so good at lying to ourselves. Like and we're very effective with it. And we will often find these rationalizations, these defense mechanisms to not do the things we don't want to that almost sound accurate. Like they almost sound good until you actually really question it. Do I feel, and this is the cue, this is the way that you can find out, are you avoiding something, is that do you feel a sense of relief when you have given yourself the okay not to do something, right? If you feel that like, oh, I feel better when I've gotten away, not done something, not done the task, avoided that person I don't want to talk to in the office, have not called out that worker that I have, that I should call out and ask them to why they haven't handed this in, why this project isn't being worked on. If you feel relief when you have given yourself another task to do, that is your red flag that you are avoiding something. And the more that you reward yourself, any behavior that you reward yourself for, emotionally or physically, you will get better at. And that means that you are going to be even more avoidant the next time. We're actually
Yeah.
creating a monster right in front of us by moving away from the things that we are scared of.
And it occurs to me that as a manager, you can also rationalize why other people, which I think is what you were talking about there, why other people aren't doing things. And then so it's not just you not getting things done, it's them not getting things done. And there, I think also talent is a bit of a trap. I know we're going to do a whole show on that, but like if you're talented, you can wait and then freak out and then do it at the last second and do it good enough that it scrapes by. But at a certain point, like your talent will always end and you haven't built up the skills or the insight or whatever it is that would let you stop procrastinating and actually do the hard thing better.
Yes. And that's the hard part, is that if you're avoiding something because it's an unknown, or because you're scared of that, or because you're worried about rejection, or you're worried about disappointing people, like that's why you really need to know, why in the world am I doing this? I love that your idea of one pattern recognizing of, I keep on doing this, but you have to be curious about yourself of, why am I doing this? Why
Yeah.
does this happen? Because if you don't know why, like if you're doing this because you're a caretaker and you don't want to disappoint someone, or if you're a perfectionist and you're worried of fear of failure, or possibly both, if you don't know
I
that, then
feel
how
so
are you actually
attacked.
going to fix it? You didn't know that this entire podcast was about you. Yeah.
Yes.
It's about all of us. If we don't really know, we're going to keep on doing it. We're going to fall into the same trap that we have set up for ourselves, because even finding out our own weaknesses, which is a strength to know about your own weakness, if you don't do that, then you're not really going to be able to fix it effectively. Like even if you brute force it, that's going to work some of the time. If you actually recognize, you know what, I care so much about what this boss thinks, or this personality type really freaks me out, and because of that, I'm avoiding talking to them about the things I need to talk to them about. You can't actually deal with it if you don't know why, because then once you know why, you can actually fix it, of like, oh, they remind me of my father. And that makes this really, really difficult.
I want to get to the fixing it part, but I just want to, and I know you covered this quickly, but I want to just go a little bit more in depth. How do you recognize, because we're always better at, I think, calling out other people than ourselves, are often better. How do we recognize if we are properly prioritizing our work versus procrastinating on the things we don't want to do? How do we know this about ourselves?
So the first thing, you want to be able to listen to your emotions and be attuned to them. Your emotions are going to be all of those cues to why you do things. And once you understand the reasoning, like I have this aversion to A, B, or C, I feel a negative feeling. And negative feelings, for those that are not that attuned to their feelings, could be my heart starts racing, my mouth gets dry, I feel clammy, I feel anxious, I feel aggressive. These are all little cues of, this is not my regular pattern of behavior. So any behavioral change is probably because of an emotional reason.
Hmm.
And that is your first cue. And so you need to be paying attention to yourself so that you can figure out why you're doing it. And then so you have a negative feeling about handing in this project. Then you want to go through all of the possibilities. It could be, I don't like this boss, this person I really like, and I don't want to disappoint them. This is an unknown variable. I don't understand the project. Last time I did poorly on the project. And when you hit on the right cue, that's the reason that you're avoiding it. It'll just hurt. It'll just be like, ugh. Like you'll be like, oh, I don't like that. Like you'll have this aversion to it. That's your reason that's it. So you want to actually go through all of the reasons that you are avoiding something. And when you touch upon it, you'll get that ick feeling of like, oh yeah, no, that's it. That's it. I don't
I've
like
seen
disappointing people.
I've seen a system that some people use. I'm curious what you think about it. It's like an auditing system where you have like a scale of importance and a scale of urgency, and you look at your priorities that way. So like big tech companies tend to use like P0, P1, P2, like priority 0, priority 1, priority 2, and they assign those to the task. So you see what the importance of the task is. And then the urgency, which is like, is the deadline tomorrow? Is the deadline next week? Is there no deadline? and you put both of those markers next to it, and then you see if the list you made actually lives up to like it's important or not important, priority or not priority, or
I
urgent and
love
not
I,
urgent.
I
Sorry.
love that. And then you want to say write down, have you been avoiding one of the things that are really important? Do you line up, your activities line up with you're able to get the jobs done? For some personality types, they will do the things that they like most first and leave the stuff that they don't like or that they have anxiety about after, even if it's not a priority. And that becomes a problem. And that can end up snowballing as you avoid something. It becomes bigger and bigger and bigger, and you
Yeah.
feel more and more anxiety about it because the deadline's coming and now you don't have time to make it perfect. And because of that, now you even stress more, which makes you want to avoid more. And it becomes this big snowball effect. So what I would say is that you need to do two things. One is you need to chop up the task into small bite-sized pieces, 15 minutes, and then you take a breather. Then you do the next 15 minutes, and you want it to be action oriented, straightforward. In 15 minutes, I make these 3 phone calls, I answer these 3 tasks, and that's it. Next 15 minutes, I do these things. And in between, you can take a 5-minute break to get some water, to look over things, to see what it is. Anyone can, even if you feel a lot of anxiety, can say, you know what, 15 minutes I can do. And then I can chop through it. The next piece, though, especially if you're a procrastinating perfectionist, is you have to say good enough. It has to just get done in those 15 minutes, no matter what. And to save yourself, this is the key, the trick to it, is you say, you know what, if I want to make it more perfect, I can go back to it later after the task is done and make this even better. But often we're trying to make something so good, or we're avoiding it so much because we want it to be so good. And it only really matters to us. The perfect color of having a Venn diagram really probably only matters to us, and to other people, they just want it done. And sometimes you have to say it has to be good enough because you have to hit your deadline. And some of the things that might be something that matters so much to you, but to no one else, have to be let go of. And that can be very, very difficult.
So like I'm gonna make the worst analogy ever. So let's say like I have a plate of food. Like I have the steak, which is like high value and I like it. The potatoes, which I like, maybe valuable, maybe not. The lima beans, which they say are good for me, but I hate. Like I know some people will eat what they like and then leave the rest. Some people will force themselves to eat like what they hate the most first and then what they like as a reward afterwards. And other people will like take a little bite either altogether or go around it. Is it the same for this? Like do a task you hate followed by a task you love, try and combine tasks, like do them first and then do the tasks you like? Should you artificially change the importance or the urgency depending on how you feel about the project?
I love that. I think of it like carrying rocks. If you're going to have to climb up a really long mountain and you have all these rocks in your backpack, take out the rocks that are heaviest first. And that means you don't like it. You find it arduous. It's really difficult. The climb will be so much easier if you're going towards things that you like better every single time. So you're actually making the load as you travel up this mountain. Like, so if you hate doing the references to that project that you have to present, do that first. Get the biggest rock out of your backpack, because then the entire task will emotionally feel lighter. And then the next part is just one step, one step, one step. I remember doing my dissertation, not a great writer. And I remember just going one more line. And I would remind myself, one, to be proud that I did one line. Some people are like, oh, but it's just one line. No, it's one less line that I will ever have to do. I will never have to redo. Well, sometimes I have to redo them, but I did one line and I don't have to redo it. Now I'm one step closer to the goal. So if you chunk it and you just say, I'm going to do 15 minutes, I'm going to get this part done. It's the part I hate more, and it makes the rest of the ride so much easier.
All right. So let me uno reverso this on you two. What about the reverse? When do you know that you're not procrastinating, but you're actually just not prioritizing well?
So that would mean that there is no emotional reaction. You're just unaware of the things that you should do in what order that you do them. Perhaps you might be overly a caretaker. And so the last person that comes to you is the person that you are going to take care of first, because that's first in your mind. Or maybe you're doing things for the people that you like more or that you don't like more
Or doing your
over
own
the
stuff last?
Yes, exactly. And that would be an issue. So it wouldn't be the same amount of this when I don't do something I feel good. It might just be that you're not aware. And that's the problem with not writing things down. I don't love having to write things down and journal them, but keeping things on task. And I actually like it not on your computer, on paper, so you can constantly go to it. It's easy, it's fast. I stick sticky notes on things, but you can do this digitally as well to make sure that you're there. But the cool part about keeping a written journal is that when someone comes to your desk and says, you know what, why don't you do this? You can say, well, I have, Sally, who's the boss, has asked me to do this. Do you want me to do it before I do her job? That's going to take, and if you write it down, how long it's going to take, 9 hours, which is probably going to be about 3 days worth. Do you want me to do that before this?
Yeah.
Give yourself some extra time, because things always come up. And for a lot of personality types, we also overestimate our own skill level at getting something done. Another issue that sometimes can lead to procrastination. But that allows you to write it down. And then later, when you go for perhaps, wanting to get a raise or wanting to talk about changing your task, you can take a look and actually have a written document that says what you've done, what you've accomplished, what are the time frames, and how effective you are or not at certain tasks.
Yeah, I love that, because like if you are working in a larger company, you probably have a manager or leader who can help you like figure out priorities. You can go to them to ask about priorities. If you're like a creator, an entrepreneur, and you're the one making those decisions, like you're probably weighing ROI. Is it, short time, big impact, long time, big impact, short time, little impact, long time, little impact? Like I think there's probably still mechanisms you could use to help yourself figure that out.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. There's different mechanisms depending on what are the issues there. And also, I think that it completely changes if you are the leader of a team and you notice that some of your workers are procrastinating. There's actually some great ways that we should probably cover in a show on its own of how to stop the people that you're managing from procrastinating and not being on task, because sometimes that might be a lacking in the leadership skills as to why things are able to fall through the cracks, and ways that you can do that in a positive way instead of a negative or punitive way that makes people just feel bad about themselves. And for avoidance, if you are avoiding or procrastinating, why do you procrastinate? In what areas? Let us know in the comments and we can discuss it.